Good Friday morning and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft in the studios of Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM, our flagship TV and radio stations on the Megacast network. I'm joined as always from her home studio by Ronnie Dahl.
Hello, Tyler. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed.
You know what? The good thing, after today, there are only 3 Fridays left in the year 2020.
We're almost done, almost through it, Ronnie. We're getting close.
We are getting so close. 27 days left in the year 2020 in the month of December. And I think everyone is so looking forward to 2021 and a vaccine and trying to get back to some sort of life as we used to know it, Tyler.
Yeah, yes, but let's not get too excited about 2021. And here's my reason why. We were all so excited about 2020. Oh, new decade, wipe the slate clean. The 20s are going to be a great decade for us here. It was a really weird and treacherous decade we just got out of in the 2010s, but the 2020s are going to be the greatest thing ever. And what happened? We got too excited, and we ended up with COVID-19. So let's not get too excited about 2021 because if this is any indication, things can get a lot worse when you're happy.
Well, it's been 100 years since the last pandemic, and no one saw this around the corner other than the filmmakers of that Netflix series Pandemic. I think they saw it coming.
They probably did.
But other than that, the rest of us totally caught off guard. But the good thing with this, though, Tyler, I think my video
your camera just went away. Oh man.
You know,
the joys of technology. Now they see my face, so that's even worse. But it's okay. Now you're back. There you are.
When I bump my laptop, because I have the webcam and the mic attached to it, so if I even bump it slightly, it tends to go out. But, I'm a Mac person, but I have to say the cameras on your Macs, they're the worst. They are the absolute worst. Why do I stay in this relationship with Apple and Mac? I just don't know.
It's surprising too, because I'm an Android person, but I do use an Apple laptop myself. And I know one thing's for sure with iPhones, they have incredible cameras. Entire films have been shot with iPhones, and those are in a relatively tiny device, but they can't do that same kind of similar technology for their laptops. I see what you're saying.
But on top of that too, since you're an Android person, so is my husband. The camera on his phone is amazing.
It is. Yeah.
So it's really surprising that the iPhone gets hyped about their camera ability, because we'll stand right next to each other and snap the same picture. And on the Android phone, it's so much better. The only reason I stay with Mac and Apple is AirDrop. That's it.
I haven't really used the AirDrop function much. I'm waiting for the next time I'm in an airport or some public place where I can just make some weird memes and AirDrop them to people, because that just sounds like a fun activity to pass the time. See who it is, who notices, what they think of it. Do they laugh? Are they angry? Either way, it'll be very entertaining. And harmless. Harmless, too.
Yeah, depending on what you're trying to AirDrop to people.
Oh, well, it's all in good fun. No, nothing harmful.
That is funny. We've actually done that before in Chicago. So you're not alone in that. And it is fun to watch people as they start to look at their phones and they're like, where's that coming from? Who did that? But with that, a lot to get to on this Friday. Tyler, my phone was ringing off the hook yesterday with the news that there is the possibility that Roosevelt Elementary here in Keiko Harbor could possibly be shutting its doors. And so all my neighbors and people that live here in this community started calling me. Who can we call? Who can we call with the media? We need to make sure this doesn't happen. So I don't know if you saw it. It was on the news last night as well. So no permanent decision has been made just yet. But, the sad thing about this is we just had the celebration, the 100th year celebration about the school.
Yeah, and it's difficult situation because, like you said, no decision's been made on any specific school that would be closed in a consolidation scenario. Heck, there hasn't even been a decision on whether or not consolidation is the route that the school district may go for some of these cost-cutting measures. So it's still very early on, but one positive from that, it does show the passion of the community in Keagle Harbor and Sylvan Lake and in West Bloomfield area for their local schools.
Yes, because they did open it up to school of choice.
Yes.
So we do get a lot of kids from Pontiac as well that go to Roosevelt. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's go ahead and get to the headlines this morning. If you go to civiccentertv.com, click on the coronavirus tab at the top. That's where we post the latest headlines each and every morning. Some good news for some restaurants for now, anyway. Oakland County officials announced a $10 million program to support restaurants struggling during the COVID-19 pandemic. The categories will include general operational assistance, help to adapt the facilities for the outdoor service, and assistance to reopen safely. If approved by the county board on Monday, checks might go out to about 1,000 bars and restaurants that have already applied and been approved for pandemic relief help. The program involves $7 million in the federal Oakland County CARES Act allocation. $3 million would be coming from the county's general fund. And of course, all of this news is good news because it's in the middle of the negotiations in Congress for federal relief to individuals, businesses, and state and local governments. Those talks appear to have stalled right now. And also, let's keep in mind, we are still under that emergency order from the health department. No indoor dining, eating at restaurants. That's remaining in effect right now until December 8th. So at least a little bit of good news for some of the bars and the restaurants here in Oakland County. 10 million sounds like a lot, though. It's still just a drop in the bucket for so many of these restaurants, though, Tyler.
Yeah, and these are really the last of those federal CARES Act dollars that are being allocated by Oakland County, and Oakland County's put a stern focus with those last remaining dollars from the federal CARES Act funding to go towards small businesses, because as we go further on into this pandemic, these small businesses get hit harder and harder and harder. And much like we've seen in many different cases, exponential growth of COVID-19 cases in our local area, in the state, and throughout the country, that impact over time that this pandemic and the restrictions that are put in place has on these small businesses is exponential. It gets exponentially worse and worse over time. So while it's not a whole lot of money that's going to be coming their way, it's helpful nonetheless, because these businesses are really struggling as this pandemic continues on, and they're getting hit hard by the regulations and by the circumstances financially of the pandemic in general.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught it yesterday. The state health chief, he was grilled by some GOP lawmakers over some of these recent shutdown orders. Michigan's pandemic orders are grinding down weary residents, a reality that must be more heavily factored into decisions about continued shutdowns. That's according to some of our state Republican legislators. Robert Gordon is the state's top health official. He acknowledged the widespread pain and anxiety caused by the coronavirus and the state's aggressive restrictions to stop it. But during testimony in Lansing, Gordon did argue that the key to returning students to the classrooms and opening up more businesses and restoring the economy is controlling the deadly disease that is rampant in our state right now. Issuing statewide restrictions isn't easy, he said. Decisions are based on multiple factors such as case trends, positivity rates, hospital capacity, conversations with hospital leadership, and measures of mobility and trends in other states as well. Gordon declined, though, to say whether or not the state is going to extend or change the order that is in place right now. But he did say that the virus concerns and the caseload numbers right now, that remains very high. My guess, though, Tyler, is this is going to be extended.
Yeah, I would guess the same thing. I think that without any indication at this point that they're going to let this expire and move on, that's one thing that points toward this being extended. Plus, you look at the positivity rate with the COVID-19 cases in the state of Michigan, it's only dropped by a little bit over 1% at this point. That's not nearly significant enough of a change, I would think, to convince the state to change their reaction to the latest spike in COVID-19 cases across the state and really across the country. I think that number has to go down significantly more before they would even consider that. So I expect this also to be extended for a little while longer because it really hasn't had time to have, these restrictions haven't really had a whole lot of time to have a great impact, and without a great impact, there's not going to be any change in how these restrictions are enacted or the nature of them.
Well, and you play into that as well as so many people travel for Thanksgiving.
Right.
So, or gathered with their family and their friends over the Thanksgiving holiday. And that kind of goes to the argument that some of these restaurant owners had, is that you're now forcing people to get together in their own homes, and instead of in the environments that are a little bit more controlled with some of these safety measures that the restaurants have been, utilizing since the pandemic broke out. So I feel like some of these businesses, and we got to keep in mind too, it's not just restaurants and bars, we are focused on them, but it's ice skating rinks, it's movie theaters, so several other entities as well, other than bars and restaurants. So, but my guess is that they want this at least through the holidays, because what's December? December is a huge, holiday gathering time, especially office parties and things of that nature. And so I think this is kind of one way the state is going to help try to control the virus through the end of the year.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that they're very concerned about the upcoming holidays at the end of December, at the beginning of 2021, especially holidays like Hanukkah and Christmas and New Year's Eve, which are days of large family gatherings or parties where people are in close proximity. And I think that that's also, like you said, a great concern for them, because if the Thanksgiving holiday saw a lot of travel and a lot of gathering of people, then those holidays that tend to really have even greater gathering of people and in close proximity are of great concern, which these health regulations by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services legally can help to prevent. Whether or not they actually do prevent them, we'll see as those numbers continue to be impacted potentially by these restrictions.
Also making news this morning, the Trump administration has approved the continued use of the Michigan National Guard through March to help with the state's response to the coronavirus pandemic, including vaccine distribution. The federal cost sharing of Guard expenses under the Title 32 authority, which allows Guard members to receive federal pay and benefits, had been set to expire on December 31st. The Michigan National Guard has aided the state in performing testing for COVID-19, distributing personal protective equipment, also helping with food and medical supplies, disinfecting public spaces, and supporting public safety when needed. Whitmer's office also anticipates the Guard is going to help provide logistical support and transportation support to help distribute COVID vaccines when they become available. They've been instrumental in this crisis and helping so many of our local communities here in the state of Michigan. And the good thing is that's going to be extended, at least at this point in time, through March, when we hope to at least start to be able to get some of the vaccines approved and roll out that program. I think the logistics of that vaccine program, Tyler, that's going to be where the confusion's going to come in, because states have never done this before.
Yes, and the National Guard is essential in these kinds of operations. It's one of the main reasons that the National Guard exists, is in order to be able to execute operations such as the distribution of vaccines and other critical resources in a time of emergency such as a pandemic. And on top of that, they're also very helpful. They'll also be very helpful should we have a even more severe spike in COVID-19 cases, and should the hospital systems be overtaxed, they would be the next in the line of guard in order to help the state address COVID-19 and help house and treat patients, should that be the case. So having that extended, absolutely essential, something that you would have expected to have seen be approved by the White House quite easily, as COVID-19 continues to have an impact on every state in the union, and the National Guard serves a purpose that is directly for these kinds of situations on our homeland.
You'll find those stories and so much more over on civiccentertv.com. Just click on the coronavirus tab at the top of the page. Along with the latest headlines, you'll also find direct links to some valuable resources, including the CDC, the state of Michigan, Oakland County, and our local municipalities as well. With that, Tyler, we have a lot to get to today on the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Today's show, we will be speaking with the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce, the Oakland Early College. I love that program. I never knew it existed. Also, the owner of the grill here in Sylvan Lake. How are they surviving during this time? Third Man Records will be with us here. They have some exciting news about a latest drop on a record today as well. And then we'll also be speaking with the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Assessment, and Instruction for the West Bloomfield School District. A lot of questions for her. So a lot to get to on the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast, but we're going to take a quick break first.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Khaldun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home. This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Great to have you with us on the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. You know, the COVID crisis has sent our economy into a tailspin, and Main Street USA is feeling the impact. To keep the doors open, businesses are needing to get very creative in order to survive. And one of the organizations helping them do that, our area Chamber of Commerce. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Wes Graf. He is the president for the Plymouth Community Chamber of Commerce. Wes, thank you for being with us on the Friday edition of the Megacast.
Ronnie, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Plymouth is one of my favorite cities. I love the walkable community. How are things going in the area right now?
We're doing okay at best, I would say. We're a big restaurant town, so when the restaurants can't have indoor dining, that slows us down. I am really pleased, though, with last weekend we had a greens market filled with vendors from our farmers market and small business Saturday, and the town was packed. So really proud of people in the Plymouth area for coming out and enjoying that.
Because there is a big push right now to support local. I think we saw it even more so for the restaurants and the bars in the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm wondering, are we going to see that same excitement from the community to support some of these small businesses during the second pause, as they're calling it right now?
We hope so. We're really, we've started a campaign here called Revive and Thrive, where we're pushing businesses, pushing residents, I should say, of not just Plymouth, but our area, because really a lot of us here in Western Wayne use each other's services, and really throughout the whole metro area, to shop local, to dine local, to use local service providers, and to support local nonprofits.
But with that, we're going into the winter months, Wes, and with that, these are tough times for the restaurants. And the winter months, can they survive? Like right now, it's not bad, 30 degrees this weekend, in the 30s, 40s. That, I think people will go outside and enjoy the restaurant experience still. But I think about like January, February, where it's like, 0 degrees. Can these restaurants survive if they still have to do the outdoor dining situation?
It depends on the restaurant. It depends on how their landlord's working with them, and other service providers to them. In Plymouth, we're known for this. We're known for our ice festival. And when we go about town, during the ice festival, people don't care. They still hang out outside and enjoy the party that is the evening of the ice festival. So, I'm seeing some of that right now at the restaurants on the patios. I'm hoping to see at least that portion of it. When it hits anywhere near 40 or mid 30s, people are willing to go out and sit by the heaters and eat too. So, and there's a lot of days like that. So, they're going to do the best they can. It really depends on how well prepared they were for this going into it, and if they have the resources to keep themselves going. We're fortunate so far. Most of our major, I think almost all of them except one of our major restaurants has really kept going throughout this.
Yeah, it's those little small neighborhood bars and restaurants that you start to worry about during this, because some of them too, just due to their location, they weren't able to set up some of these outdoor patio types of situations. So we'll see how they do during this as well. With that, Plymouth is kind of also known during the holidays for all of your holiday events. How has that been impacted this year? Are things being canceled or just reimagined?
Only one has really been canceled, and it was reimagined, is we had a Santa house that we pulled in every year. And Santa's coming to town, but through Zoom. And we have people signing up to do, because we've had this, our Santa has been part of this community for over 20 years. So we want to keep it, we're going to give the kids an opportunity. A lot of times some of their parents have gone to Santa, and now they're taking their kids to see Santa. So it's a fun experience for them. We'll keep that going. We used to have a big celebration when Santa came to town. That was reimagined, and Santa came in on a fire truck and just visited all the community parks around town. We do still have our Christmas tree walk, which is called the Walk of Trees in Kellogg Park. That's still going strong. So we're pleased to have that, and that's brought a little bit of Christmas back to everybody this year.
So are those trees already set up, Wes?
Yeah, the trees are set up. They were lit. They were turned on by Santa on Friday night. So we're off and running with that this year, which is and it creates a really nice atmosphere here in Plymouth. So if one wants to sit out on the patios, which it's interesting, the restaurant owners said, I didn't think that anyone would really want to do this. And then as they were going along, they found out they did. So last Tuesday, our city commission agreed in downtown Plymouth to continue the patios, actually throughout all of the city of Plymouth, to continue those patios on the public property. Private property could already move ahead with that. And so it's great that people are embracing it, the cold, and getting out there and enjoying it.
It's kind of like we're Michigan, bundle up.
I think they're here to stay for the future. I expect we're going to see outdoor patios every year going forward.
Yeah, but with that, this year, have you heard from some owners that haven't been able to get some of the supplies? There is a shortage of the heaters out there right now. And then I wonder, how's it going to work with some of the restaurants that have those tents? Because a tent is cute and it's nice, but what happens if we get a huge snowstorm?
We don't have, they're talking about putting canopies up here. We don't have tents in most of our areas. A few places have the igloos, which are made for this, and since they're a dome, the snow slides off of them. But they are looking at some sort of covering over the top of them. Most of the ones have heaters already. They had bought up heaters long ago. So that one seems to be covered by most of our restaurants.
So that's why I can't get a heater right now.
Right. The commercial companies have purchased them and are selling them for a pretty good price to businesses.
I'm glad you brought up the igloos because I think they're adorable. They started, popping up a couple years ago with a few restaurants, and now it's pretty much standard for so many of these restaurants. But when it comes to this health order, how does that work? Because it's still an enclosed space. So from a health standpoint, they're still allowed though.
They are still allowed. You're supposed to dine with people who are in your family or your pod, and they are actually putting them into, and so there is an opening to them. The amount of time a server is in there is limited. And so they've gone ahead and allow the igloos at this point.
Wes Graf with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He's the president for the Plymouth Community Chamber of Commerce. What else is going on there in the city of Plymouth? And how have you guys been able to help some of these businesses?
Well, I'll mention a few things. Our Downtown Development Authority is doing a downtown shopping contest. So if you spend over $50 and you email them the receipt, you go into a drawing for a $25 Plymouth gift card that is good at 150 locations in Plymouth and Plymouth Township. And then they are doing the same thing now for restaurants again, and they are doing a Takeout Tuesday contest. So if you spend over $50 in a restaurant and you send them a copy of your receipt, you're up for a $25 gift card that also can be used. So, that's one of the ways we're trying to encourage business. I mentioned our Revive and Thrive campaign that we're running. We have 57 businesses that sponsored it. The money is going into we have a very large following on social media, including 25,500 on Facebook. And so we are using some of those funds because it's one of our most effective ways to get the word out the door to people, reminding them that the businesses that they have so enjoyed are part of the quality of life of this community, that they contribute significantly when asked with gift cards, with donations. And now it's our time to step up for them. So we're encouraging people to, in a real push to shop locally. But then we also are highlighting things like our historical museum, which does have a historic First Ladies exhibit right now with them all dressed up for Christmas. But there's so many things that are part of our quality of life here. And they also need our support right now too. So if you buy a gift card because you can use them later, if that's supporting the Michigan Philharmonic or supporting the Penn Theater that people love, there's so many options for people. And then locally, I should mention, the safety net for our area is the United Way, which is local. And when I say local, for Western Wayne County, and also our Salvation Army, and they work in tandem. So important for people to also give to that. And the same thing within your area of Oakland County. It is essential that we take care of the people who unfortunately right now have lost their jobs, often the service workers and the businesses that we're talking about, like restaurants. We've got to help provide them a Christmas.
Yeah, you wonder about so many of these restaurant workers, especially the ones that maybe have another job, but they relied on that second income to help supplement some of their expenses as well. And now that's gone away for them. How are they going to make it through December with the holidays coming up? Wes, just another couple minutes here with you on the Oakland County Megacast. Before we let you go, do you want to talk a little bit about the importance of organizations such as yours during this pandemic and trying to bring these businesses together?
Yeah, our role has really changed a lot. I mean, we used to have a lot of meetings where we would get people together and network. Now we provide some opportunity to do that online. But probably the biggest thing that we do is provide information now. One of the things that's helping these businesses get through, and we really do need our federal government to step up and support the businesses that really are not able to fully open right now, and support the workers to put some money back in their pockets so they can spend that out there. That's also hurting businesses right now. So if we can get some more money into the pot to do that, it will really help. But we provide a lot of information for our members about the changes that keep occurring, the restrictions that are put on to help us get through COVID, what they have to do. And we have gotten more feedback that is the most important role that we have played so far, is the information provider, which is a bit of a change for us. We're more of a convener, and I think we've really shifted a lot to be more of an information provider, and then to bring people together. We have an online mall on our website and other ways to promote. We really take community promotions seriously here because we have a great community to promote. And we would encourage anybody to come down and just kind of walk around and enjoy it for a night. Do a little shopping, just enjoy a day in Plymouth.
Yeah, get outside, because I do feel like sometimes when we're outside, it's like an escape from COVID and this pandemic. Wes, with that, can you talk a little bit about some of the grants that are being made available to the businesses, and how hard of a process is it for some of these smaller businesses to get some of those?
The MEDC just is announced that they're doing a new grant that will apply to the places we're talking about: restaurants, gyms. Gyms are just hit so hard. I know that we've forgiven the dues of our members who are gyms this year because there's just no way they can make it. But there's a new there's a new $10 million grant program for them that has just come out. Hopefully another round of CARES Act money that's out there. You can work with your banker on those PPP loans. There's other loans that are very easy to get if you just submit your information. I know Wayne County here was very supportive of a lot of businesses who received grants, and the application process was really quite easy. So, they're trying to work with you. Everybody is, I think, to make this a go. And at first, the applications were more complicated. You still have to have good books and good records. You can't go in there with nothing. But if you can show a loss, if you can show you're in one of those industries that's really hurt and you are specifically hurt, there's opportunities for funds.
Yeah, what's been sad is hearing about some of these business owners or individuals that have taken advantage of that system and kind of scammed the system, because that is money that other people really need and other businesses really need to stay afloat. So it seems like the second round, they've gotten a little bit smarter about trying to spot some of that fraud so it can help more people and more businesses.
The last round, they did a good job of getting money in the hands of the people the first round, I mean, not that many of the first round needed it, but that second round really got to those, there's small businesses and there's micro businesses, and the second round really got to the micro businesses. That's who doesn't have the deep pockets to get through this. And so that was a real plus for everybody. And I saw so many businesses that really deserve those funds to get them in that second round. And hopefully this next round, we can do the same thing and prioritize those that are hit the hardest by COVID.
Exactly. Well, Wes, it's always great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Plymouth is such a cute city. And like you said, it's the quality of life. These shops and these businesses bring such a uniqueness to our cities that we need them to survive this economic crisis. And because we want them around for when we come out of this.
Right. So come on down and see us this winter at any point, not just during the holidays. You'll have a wonderful time.
Exactly. Break out the gloves and put on an extra layer of long underwear and you'll be okay.
Yep.
Well, Wes, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. And when we come back, we are going to shift the conversation just a little bit and look at education during this time. You're watching the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green
or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask.
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 The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Always great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. As a reminder, you can catch Tyler and I Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon. You can catch us on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. If you do still have cable, we want to say thank you because a part of your fee does support programming such as this. So you can tune us into Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. And if you're out driving around, you can also catch us on the radio. That's what makes us a megacast. So channel 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM, the Biff. And then we also want to say thank you today to the West Bloomfield School District for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page. And with that, let's go ahead and shift and talk a little bit about education during this time. I mean, it's definitely shifted how our kids are learning, but it's not stopping some students from getting a jump start on their college education. With us now is Ashleigh Larkin. She's the head of the school for Oakland Early College. I love this program. How are you doing? Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
For those not familiar with the program, fill us in on what it is and how it operates.
So I will first start by saying that I am the new head of school. I officially actually start on Monday.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. So Jennifer Newman is the current head of school for One Last Day, and she has done such amazing things there. So huge shoes to fill. So I did have to mention her because she's done wonderful things there. So I'm definitely still learning the whole process, but the beauty of Oakland Early College, and one of the reasons why I was really drawn to it, is because it gives students an opportunity to prepare for college courses before they even take that next step to potentially apply to a university if that's something that they'd like to do. So the students at Oakland Early College are dual enrolled students, and they take high school courses simultaneously with college classes.
That is, what a gift for these kids. I don't think they realize that. But and their parents, I would think, appreciate it as well, because there's no additional college tuition that they have to pay, right?
Absolutely. So they can earn up to an associate's degree for free. So it's really a great opportunity for students, not only to potentially earn that and to earn transferable credits, but also to really understand the college world before they may even transfer to a university.
Well, and I know one of the things with this program is trying to just do that, allow that student to engage in the college experience. However, this year is a little bit different. How is that working for the students that are currently enrolled in the program?
It is definitely different. We're all navigating those challenges. OCC did decide to go fully virtual this semester, and they have done the same for next semester. So they will remain fully virtual throughout the rest of our high school year. We're not sure yet about summer classes.
So for the students that are currently enrolled, what are the qualifications and how do you pick them?
So students that are interested in OEC, it is a process to get to be a student at OEC, which is part of the beauty and the magic, because we're very big on culture and community at OEC. And so, you know, we have to make sure that it's going to be the right fit. So in terms of standards overall, we typically select students that have a GPA of 2.0 to 4.0 range or higher. It's a student that wants to give back to their community. So service is a big piece of Oakland Early College, people that want to be contributors and really be good people. So that would definitely be something we'd be looking for. In order to start the process, a student would call Oakland Early College and they would set up a family meeting with the head of school. We have a 1-hour family meeting. From there, the student would then submit an application if they're interested. And they would also, in normal times, be able to shadow a student at Oakland Early College to get a feel for what it looks like. And then from there, they have a 1-hour interview with myself, the counselor there, and students. And then it's determined whether they'd be selected for the program or not.
Do they have to be seniors in order to enroll?
They do not. So we have started taking students as early as 9th grade. However, if you are a 9th grade student coming in, you have to have taken Algebra 1 in 8th grade, which is typically a high school required class.
So how is that working now, Ashleigh, especially when it comes to that community aspect? Because we're also in the middle of a pandemic and being told not to be around other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really been difficult. You know, Oakland Early College was very fortunate in the fact that me coming in, I won't see it right now, but they were hybrid. So they actually had 2 groups of students that were in person 2 days each week. And so they were able to take on some of that community feel. I participated with them in a 5K walk that they did in the trail behind OEC. They've collected donations for different charitable organizations this year. So they were able to keep that feel even during the hybrid time. Now shifting to being fully virtual, I've had, several ideas. I'm going to coordinate with the staff about ways that we can keep up that feel virtually, whether it's virtual board games or, virtual movie night with the school or different charitable giving things that we can do. So there is a lot we can do. It is harder, but there are still many things we can do to keep that feel.
So when the students are enrolled in classes at the community college, does anyone know that they are a high school student, or they're just there like any other regular student?
They are there like any other student. If a professor asks them, Ms. Newman would always say you should share that you're a high school student, but typically they don't, and they blend right in with the culture. And that's a really important piece of selecting students for the program, right? Is making sure that they will be able to immerse themselves in that college culture.
Ashleigh Larkin with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. As of Monday, she will be the new head of school for the Oakland Early College program. I would imagine they have to be a current student within the West Bloomfield School District.
They do not. No, we actually have students from all different areas in Oakland County that can apply.
So can they apply even if they maybe go to a private school as well?
They could. Mm-hmm.
So with that, how many students do you pick each semester? Is it competitive to try to get in?
So that is something that I would be learning, I'll be honest with you, because I just actually sat in on my first family meeting and interview yesterday. I do know that it is a competitive program. There are currently about 180 students enrolled, and typically there's 40 to 50 students per grade level at a time.
Well, for someone that just started the job, you have the numbers down though.
I had to do a lot of research. It was a long interview process.
Oh, well, that's so great. With this too, what classes are the students typically taking?
So the students would have to take all classes that are required to meet Michigan high school graduation requirements. So all of the 18 Michigan merit credits. And then we really focus on what their potential career pathway or what their interests are. And then they would be able to select courses based on that.
So there is a big push right now in the state of Michigan to try to get students into some of more of the trades. And a lot of the community colleges do focus on some of those programs as well. Do you see any students trying to take advantage in that route?
You know, again, I'm really trying to get to know the students individually and figure out what their next steps are. But OCC offers wonderful programs that are geared towards trade careers and different professions that require an associate's degree. And so that's definitely something that I know students are taking advantage of.
So we know you're new to the job and new to the position, but in some of the conversations you're having with the students, are you hearing from any of them about the possibility of maybe taking a gap year or staying closer to home and taking advantage of the community college?
I think that's definitely becoming a trend, for students in the state of Michigan and really across the nation. You're seeing more students take a gap year to really figure out what they want to do. The cost of college, it's rising and it's become very expensive. And so I always tell students, you really, while you can explore, you want to make sure that, you're working towards something that you actually want to do, because you're going to be shelling out a lot of money in order to get that piece of paper for you to do that. So
yeah, I will say the amount of a college education right now, it seems to me it's skyrocketed, and it is so high that unfortunately a lot of kids too aren't making it through. They maybe don't graduate and don't finish, but then they're left with this huge debt that they still have to pay off, and then they didn't even get a degree. Mm-hmm. So this is a great program to help them and to help their parents as well, because these can be tough financial times for families.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think it's a wonderful program. Again, I really go back to the culture and community there is just fantastic. And then you get this bonus of, fulfilling so many gen ed requirements that you might have to take that can transfer, getting an associate's degree. So it's a really unique opportunity for students.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think the community colleges are getting a lot better about having some of these classes that are transferable. Mm-hmm. So it does make it easier, because I think sometimes we forget higher education is also a business. It would be frustrating. For me, I remember transferring, and they would take like your English 201, but not the 101. Some of these little things, and you'd have to retake them if you were transferring. So it's great to see that there is a program like this and the high school kids can take advantage of that. But do you worry about some of the students currently missing out on that college experience because the classes are remote? So it must seem like for them, it's almost like high school, because high school is remote right now as well.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that. I think that though, so many different classes at universities are becoming hybrid or fully online. And so for those classes, I actually think it's good preparation. Obviously, I think all of us would prefer to be back in person. It's just a different feel. You build different connections and get different support. But I do think that there's a lot of learning that can occur in being fully virtual, especially the piece of really being self-motivated and having to plan your own schedule and make sure that you're keeping up with everything in the course. So I think it's only pushing them a little bit further to strive for excellence and to do the best that they can do.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest adjustments when you go to college from a high school is that managing your time, because the coursework can be a little bit tougher than high school sometimes as well. And plus, typically too, when you're in college, it's easily distracted from so many other things going on. But this is still such a great opportunity for the students. Before we let you go, since you're new to the district, new to the position, do you want to give us a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I actually have been in West Bloomfield School District my entire career. I am, for one more day, the assistant principal at West Bloomfield High School. It has been an absolutely amazing journey. I love the students, staff, and parents and community at West Bloomfield High School. I really was just ready for the next step in my career, and the thought of going to a new school and becoming head of school in a building that really focuses on college culture and community ties directly to my professional goals in what I believe in. And so I was really excited about that. So as I interviewed, I just became more and more excited about Oakland Early College, and I can't wait to get started with the students and staff there.
It is a great program. With that, what's it been like for you at the high school during this time?
Yeah, it's been challenging. I'm not going to lie. We're doing the absolute best we can to support our students and staff. We miss everybody terribly. I will say transitioning without being able to see people has been really difficult. I will miss them so much. So, we're absolutely doing the best that we can. Our teachers have been amazing, taking on extra trainings in terms of technology and figuring out different programs that they can utilize. So, we're all in this together. We are, like I said, everyone is doing the absolute best that they can. We're working to support, and we hope to get students back in the building as soon as possible.
Oh, won't that be nice? Because definitely so many of them lost out on that high school experience last year, and it looks like they're probably going to suffer that again this year as well. But with that, I think when the schools closed down last March, at least the teachers did already have a relationship with those students. What's it been like for the teachers and the students this semester coming in? Because it's different meeting them in person and then going virtual, but now it's all virtual.
It is. And that was one of our stressors for sure when we started the school year, was that we haven't built relationships with this group of students yet, especially our incoming freshmen. And so some of the things that we're doing, we are doing things we may not normally in an environment when kids are in the building. So things like, not giving homework over breaks, having connection days where instead of just going through content, they're playing a game with their teacher. They're doing getting to know you activities. A lot of that work takes place at the beginning of the year when we're in person, but because we're not seeing them, it's happening throughout the year. And so our teachers have really done a great job in trying to connect individually with students and get to know them better. And we're doing a lot of different school activities through our student leadership group, who's been doing such a great job to make sure that students still feel connected to school.
Well, since you'll be working with students that are focused on college, what is the plan and the discussion around those yearly tests, the ACT, the SAT? How is that working right now?
So our students were fortunate. We were able to bring them in the fall if they missed the test from last year to take SAT and PSAT. We don't know yet what it's going to look like. Typically, we test students in April. So we're still waiting for guidance from the Michigan Department of Education on what that's going to look like. But as long as it's safe to bring students into the building and Michigan Department of Ed says we're still testing in April, we will absolutely have the option available for students. Students are also able to sign up on their own to take tests on Saturday, but I know that has been really tricky for kids. There have been a lot of locations that have shut down, that are not offering the test, even though they say they are. And so it's been a little bit difficult. But I do think that ultimately the universities have been great. A lot of them are going test optional or flexible. And so I know everyone's doing everything they can to support students.
Well, as a student, I would think that last option is a good one if they can get out of actually taking it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It was a stressor for me 20 years ago. So, and I think the kids now are under more pressure than even we were to try to get the highest score possible.
Yes, standards have, gone higher every year. And it's very competitive, and they do have a lot more pressure academically, socially, than I think we did in the past. So there is a lot that they have to go through.
Ashleigh Larkin with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Before we let you go, anything that we didn't touch on that you maybe want to share with the listeners and the viewers?
I think we covered a lot of it. I'm very excited to learn more about OAC as I immerse myself in the culture there. I do just want to say to my West Bloomfield High School community, I will miss you greatly, but the good news is I'm right down the road. So I will still be around, and I'm really looking forward to this new challenge and to getting to know the OAC family.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in your new position. Quickly though, Ashleigh, before we let you go, how can parents and students find out more about this program?
In order to find out more about the program, you can go to the website. So the district website has a tab for Oakland Early College that you can find. And then there also is a direct site to Oakland Early College. So I think probably the easiest way for families is if you just Google Oakland Early College, it will be one of the first links to pop up.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you for having the courage to do an interview for a position you haven't even officially started yet. You were great. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
And good luck in the new position.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're going to take you to Ashleigh Larkin with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Starting this coming Monday, she will be the head of school for Oakland Early College. It is a great program for so many of our students here in the Oakland County area and the state of Michigan. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Still a lot to get to in the second hour.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And Step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Always great to have you with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Just about an hour left in the show. You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. And as a reminder for anyone that may just be tuning into the show for the first time, you can catch Tyler and I Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till noon, Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. You can also catch us on Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. We also want to say thank you today to the West Bloomfield School District for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page. So it's estimated already there had been about 2,000 restaurants have closed in Michigan due to the pandemic. And those still open are struggling to try and survive, not only during this pause, but we have the winter ahead of us. To talk more about this, let's bring in Vickie Kherkher. She's the owner of the Grill in Sylvan Lake. Vickie, I have to tell you, your restaurant has become one of our favorite go-to places for the carryout during the pandemic.
Good, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that.
Your food is really fabulous. And funny, we lived down the street but hadn't been there until the shutdown, and discovered it during that time. So you have a great carry-out service, but how has this been for you and your team?
It's been awful, I'll be honest with you. I did the math a couple of days ago, and in 2020, by the end of the year, we will have been closed to indoor dining for 17 weeks. That's over 4 months of the year. It's hard for business to survive with 80% of your income gone a long period of time. And our staff, especially right now, it's Christmas. I don't know how people are going to feed their families. I don't know how they're going to give gifts for their children, pay their rent. It's extremely difficult for everyone.
On top of that, we hear our elected leaders during this time saying that they recognize that there is a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and the financial fallout for small businesses such as yourself. They're trying to do some things. Oakland County just announced yesterday the $10 million grant. But I always feel like they're kind of the talking heads, but the reality of trying to get some of those funds and the day-to-day survival is something different. What do you want our elected leaders to know?
You don't know what it's like to be in our position until you give up your paycheck for 17 weeks. The $10 million is up to $15,000 for 650 businesses. 650 businesses. That's not very many. We get to apply. We may or may not get it. They continually say that restaurants, when they check with people who have had COVID-19, they say, we went to a restaurant. Well, a lot of people have had COVID-19 and they haven't been interviewed by anyone, traced by anything to find out where they've been. But I bet those same people who have been to restaurants have been to the grocery store, the pharmacy, gathered with their family in their homes. Perhaps they had that trusted friend or neighbor. Well, I get together with her because I can trust her. No, you can't. This is a virus and you can't trust anyone. It's not about people. It's about you trust the virus. Mm-hmm. And instead, they're just on bars, restaurants, theaters. As a matter of fact, half of the death toll from this virus is caused by people in nursing homes. I got to tell you, people in nursing homes rarely come to restaurants. And if you're bringing your family member who's in a nursing home to a restaurant, you need to rethink that strategy. I just think we're being unfairly picked on. I really do. We opened at 50% capacity. I know in my business, you're at least 6 feet away from the next person, a lot of times more than that. It doesn't travel that far. It just doesn't. We could have done other things, like maybe close earlier to keep that whole bar business down, which I think can be a problem because younger people are a part of the spread. But in this case, if you only have a hammer in your toolbox, everything starts to look like a nail. And I think to our politicians, oh my gosh, this is my hammer. I'm going to slap down those restaurants for the nail. And I think they can be a little more creative. I think Michiganders can be a little more creative. We're a tough bunch. If we just do the things we're asked to do, wear a mask, social distance, don't gather with your family and friends, we're almost at the end. We could be an example to the country. Set aside our political differences, which don't really matter in the end. But we as Michiganders, it does matter. We could do this.
Well, and obviously, the Michigan Restaurant Lodging Association was handed a blow this week in federal court by the judge. Knowing that, are you worried that they are going to extend the pause, as they are calling it right now, through the month of December?
Absolutely. There is no way they're going to let us open with Christmas and New Year's holidays coming up. And then, quite frankly, as soon as that's over, oh my God, we have a surge from Christmas. It doesn't have anything to do with the restaurants, but we're going to have to keep them closed. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't open until February. And a lot of us won't be here.
Wow.
We just can't keep doing that.
Yeah, and so one of the things that they did address was, while the numbers went down slightly, they also know that Thanksgiving travel and Thanksgiving gatherings could skew the numbers, so you don't have a true impact of what this pause has meant on the virus. What are your thoughts on that?
The numbers going up over Thanksgiving have absolutely nothing to do with restaurants. Nothing. We were closed. But we'll have to continue to be closed because those numbers go up. I think it's unfair.
So when the restaurants were when the restaurants were allowed to reopen, so many of you did so with new protocols, but also there was an expense that you put into reopening. What are you worried about? Could you do some type of outdoor dining? We're seeing the igloos, things of that nature. Because you at least do have a big parking lot.
Right. I am planning on putting in a patio in the spring if I can. Hopefully I can afford it. Here, my issue with the igloos are they're not safe for the staff. You're putting 4 people in this little bubble, and now my server's going to walk into your bubble? It's not safe for the people inside of it. You're not safe in my 4,000 square foot restaurant, but you're safe in this bubble. And they're not just there with the people that they live in their own house. That's not happening. They're there with other family members that they don't live with. They're there with friends. And I personally, I would not ask a server to enter into somebody else's bubble.
So can we talk about some of your employees right now? How many had you had to let go recently because of the pause?
Most of my staff has been laid off because of this. I have people working once a week. That's what they can do. I have one server in a week to take care of curbside. So everybody gets 1 day a week. They work. That's all they get. That's all their money. 1 day a week.
And well, on top of that, when you work in that 1 day, curbside is not giving people the resources, the financial support from the tips that they would get on another normal day.
That's true, but I have to be honest with you, our customers are extremely generous. They know these girls are having a tough time and they're giving extra. They're amazing. Our customers are amazing.
Yeah, knowing that. So during the first shutdown, we saw a huge push and so much public support behind small businesses and restaurants. Do you think you're going to have that same support this second time around?
No. I think, there's the pandemic fatigue. Everyone's over this. They just want life to return to normal. They're not really thinking about this. Most of their places they go are open. They can do most things. And it's different this time around. But it's also different in the first time around. People were afraid of the packaging. It might have COVID on it. People were afraid the food might have COVID on it. And now they've learned through the science that it really is a respiratory illness, and they're at least not afraid of that. But no, I think people are not as focused on small business this time, especially the local ones.
Vickie Kherkher with us here on the Oakland.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Vickie.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
The first time around, the media put a big push on support your local restaurants, do this. And they're not now. They just aren't. Everyone's focused on the vaccine, which is, my God, it's wonderful. That's how we're going to get out of all of this. And the election and who's president, who's not president, oh my God. Instead of focused on what we can do locally to help each other, really.
With that, how long do you think you can continue to survive?
try not to think about that. I'm very fortunate that I own my property. I don't have to pay rent. That's huge. And I've been here for a long time. So I've got some holding power. I just I go into austerity mode, and I can do this for a while. But I'm not looking at it. I'm not going to look at it.
Right.
Head in the sand, and you'll be just fine.
The stress that is on business owners such as yourself and others right now, you have to lose a lot of sleep over this.
Yes, a lot of sleep. I'll be honest, I have, since this started, I lost 35 pounds.
Wow.
From the stress.
Wow.
I didn't know what people kept saying. You look really skinny. No full-length mirrors at TJ Maxx to look into.
Oh, so with that, so the one thing they're saying, they're not telling us yet if they're going to extend the pause as they're being calling it. However, they did say that they will give businesses and schools enough time to adapt if they do extend the pause. How much additional time do you need, or does it really matter at this point?
It doesn't matter at this point. How are you going to adapt? It's almost winter in Michigan. Even if you do have outdoor dining, it's going to be closed. We start talking about wind chill. Nobody's sitting in your igloo. There's no adaptations we can make other than not put a food order in on Monday because we're not going to need it.
Yeah. Yeah, the igloos are cute, but it's like you said, that's only going to last for so long, right? With that, Vickie, talk to us a little bit about, you come out of the first shutdown, you reopen, you're still only at 50% capacity, but you are able to bring back employees. What has the employee situation been like for you? And with this next pause, are you worried that they're going to go get other jobs and they're not going to come back to the restaurant industry?
Absolutely. After the first pause, everyone in this industry has scrambled to try to get any help at all. And now I hear more and more servers saying, well, I'm going to go get a job in retail. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. They don't trust the industry anymore to be able to function, because we haven't this year. So I'm very concerned about when we reopen and I'll have anyone to work. Are you looking for a second job, perhaps?
Right. It's so hard, isn't it?
It is. But I am hiring, in a couple of months.
Right. Well, I think the first time around, so many of the employees they did have the additional federal support. That's not there right now. So in some arenas, it's tough for them to go through right now. And even more so, it's in the middle of the holidays. But coming out of that from an employer standpoint, maybe people are going to be more eager to come back to work, because the unemployment that they're getting now is not what they were getting before with the federal government stimulus.
That's true, that what they're getting now will not feed their families. But even after the federal stimulus ran out at the end of July, the employees didn't come back. I thought they would. I thought, okay, as soon as that's over, we're going to have applications. No, I just think a lot of people left the industry.
Wow. And with that, Vickie Kherkher with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the owner of the Grill in Sylvan Lake. You've been a staple of the community there in Sylvan Lake. Do you want to talk a little bit about the support from the community and the neighbors?
Oh, my customers are amazing, and they're very loyal. They come in, they tell us how bad they feel, and they're ordering carryouts, and they're doing the very best they can to support us, and we appreciate that more than they could ever possibly know. So thank you to our customers.
What are your hours right now? Have you had to cut back on your hours? What are your hours that you're open for carryout?
Yes, we're doing from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. It doesn't seem to be worth it to be open for breakfast. And since it's dark, it's 5 o'clock. People have their carry out sitting on their couch. They're done by 8 o'clock. It's not like the 10 o'clock romantic dinner. or two.
Right. It does feel like it's so much later, and it's only, you look and you're like, oh my gosh, it's only 6. It feels like 10.
I can't go to bed for how many more hours? Jeez.
With this, Vickie, what do you think is going to your next plan of attack? If this continues into February and March, what is your plan of attack? Because I'm sure you just can't give up, right? I mean, you can't walk away. So
we can't give up. We keep trying to run specials. Like right now, if you buy 2 entrees, you get a dessert for free. We're going to be kids eat free days, things like that to try to keep things going. Winter is normally a slower time around, at least for my business. A lot of my customers are snowbirds, so they will be gone for a little while. We just have to keep doing the best we can. Our biggest competition, believe it or not, is McDonald's. Like, I put on a little Facebook post the other day that because they're across the street from me, I just people line up double file and down Orchard Lake Road, and I don't get it.
Wow.
So if people a little less into our local restaurants a little more, we'd be better off.
Right. With that, Vickie, thank you so much for being with us. Anything you want to share with the public before we let you go?
Just thank you so much for having me on, and I thank all of our customers and our friends and neighbors for supporting us, and I wish everyone terrific holidays. And stay well. Wear a mask, social distance.
Right. So when you have you heard from any of the elected leaders directly? Has anyone stopped in to talk to you as a business owner?
Absolutely not. Wow. No, they haven't. I mean, I get the local police come in and say hello and grab a carryout, but that would be about it.
Yeah, but no one from city council, no one from the county commissioner's office, no one.
No.
Wow. That to me would kind of add to my frustration.
Yeah, but there's a lot of us. I can see where it might be a little hard to come to us. They don't think I want to be yelled at so many times in a day.
Will you try to apply for some of this latest financial help from Oakland County?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The applications, you can put them in December 15th. And as soon as I wake up December 15th, I will be putting my application in. And I'm hoping the federal government comes through with this stimulus package, the additional unemployment, that extra $300, it would be a lifeline for people that aren't working right now. And some industries have been hurt worse than the restaurants. I can't even imagine being a caterer or doing wedding events this year. It's been a nightmare. Theater owners, they've barely been open at all, and they're closed again. So the people really, we have to help the people. It's not their fault they don't have a job, and they can't go out and get another one. There's nothing there. So I hope that people in Washington care.
Yeah, that's why we elect them, right? To make these decisions and to help us out during these times as well. Vickie, thank you so much for being with us. Quickly, anything positive that's come out of this for you and your business, though, that will carry over into post-pandemic if we ever get there?
Positive for me and my business. I can think of right now. Maybe our next video, I will focus on that. I'll add, put that on my gratitude list. That's how I sleep at night. This little gratitude list.
There you go. Well, we thank you so much for your time and again for your service too, because our communities are made up of businesses such as yours. So thank you to you and your team, and let's hope this all ends soon.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Still a lot to get to. Next up, though, we are going to be speaking with Third Man Records on the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart, keep wearing a mask in public, and if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Great to have you tuning in to the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl in my home studios while Mr. Tyler Keefe holds things down back in West Bloomfield. Just as a reminder, again, you can catch us on civiccentertv.com, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T, also on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And thank you to the West Bloomfield School District for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page, which basically means you can tune us in just about anywhere and anytime as well. As we continue on with the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast, just about 40 minutes left here in the show, we are going to focus the next conversation a little bit on the entertainment business. 2001, Jack White founded Third Man Records, an independent record label. And then in 2015, the label opened its second location, the first one being Nashville, one of the coolest cities, the second location here in Detroit, the coolest city, making vinyl really popular again. But every business has also had to shift how they operate during the COVID crisis. So with that, we are going to be joined now on the Oakland County Megacast, Ro Peterhans and David Buick with Third Man Records. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, thanks for having us.
So, David, let's go ahead and start with you. Where are you right now? Are you in Detroit or Nashville?
I'm in Detroit. I am in at our location on Canfield. I'm in our mastering studio. Ro and I share an office. We're apart from distanced office, but so he's in the office and I'm in the mastering studio right now.
Oh, okay. So I will say it is the coolest shop. If people have not visited, it's downtown and the Cass Corridor, which I don't know how long you two have been around Detroit, but if anyone would have said Cass Corridor was going to be the hip spot for all these businesses and restaurants, you'd been like, what are you talking about, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I've lived about a mile away from here for the past 25 years, so I walk to work, and it's definitely a different walk nowadays. It's you wouldn't recognize it if you remember the olden days.
It's definitely changed. For those that haven't been to the store, give us a lowdown. What will they experience when they walk in? Ro, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. We have a large, by about 3,000, 4,000 square foot retail space that is very visually activated with artwork and murals and coin-operated novelties, along with, obviously, a record store and merchandise you can buy, all based around Third Man Records. So we're kind of a unique record store in the fact that the majority of what we sell is on our record label or things that we manufacture in the plant, the record pressing plant that's behind the store. So as you come into the store, you see all this great looking stuff on the walls. You'll pass by a what's called our blue stage. It's a live venue. So it's a portion of the store that transforms into a live music venue when that's happening. So we're obviously not doing much of that right now, but when we get back to it, you can check our website for great cool live shows there. And then you follow down this hallway that you sort of see a little cool light at the end of the tunnel and can enter into this glass atrium observation room that looks out over the pressing plant floor. So you can kind of step inside the pressing plant. So it's a very immersive retail experiential place when you walk in. You don't realize it from the storefront, from the street, but when you come in, it kind of transforms into something unexpected.
It is the coolest location. I will say, though, I remember back when you were first opening, and you're thinking, vinyl? Really? That went out with the 8-track tape, right? But vinyl is cool again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on, who you talk to, what generation you talk to. For some people, it's never left, it's never gone away for those diehard collectors and certain types of music fans. And then, for younger generations, the folks that are in their teens and their 20s and even in their 30s, it's sort of like a new format, a new medium. They didn't know this. It doesn't feel old to them, it feels new. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And then all of us old timers, have either maintained collections or, remember kind of when it was at its peak, when it dipped, and watching this kind of come back is a pretty amazing thing.
My husband has a stack, so we're in that second group there too as well. There's just something about the static, right, that comes with that vinyl. Or when you had the skip, you needed a new needle. With that, David, do you want to talk a little bit about how the pandemic and the crisis has impacted your day-to-day operation?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we were shut down. We reopened to limited hours in early June, like everyone else. But the weird thing that happened, that we experienced, and I know a lot of other independent record labels and record stores experienced it, was during the lockdown, a lot of people were still buying music and vinyl online because they had so much time, and it's a nice way to spend it is flipping a record and sipping on a coffee or a wine or whatever you want to do. So when the plant opened up, they're swamped. They've been playing catch up ever since we reopened up. So that's nice news. And we've had a small, steady stream of, diehard fans and supporters, coming in person and supporting us. And, everyone's kind of trying to help each other out, which is, kind of positive and nice. It's a nice thing that we're learning during this pandemic, that we're all in it together.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the truth? But don't you miss live music? I cannot wait to go to my first concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We were on the verge of traveling down to Austin in March. We were doing Third Man was doing a 2-day showcase at South by Southwest, the festival there in Austin.
Yeah.
And I want to say that was, March 14th, we were supposed to be down there doing that, 15th, 16th. And just the week before, we were in this big debate on, can we do this? Can we not do this? And then everything just seemed to shut down at the same time. So we were, our whole experience here was entering into pandemic, having canceled a really exciting thing that we were going to do. But, we quickly, we're a pretty creative team, creative company. We work, closely with our headquarters in Nashville, and everybody's involved with each other's projects. We tried to reinvent our business model, which doesn't take a lot because we have a really robust online store, retail experience online. But we took the approach to speed to market, with the speed to market kind of thing, and took a lot of the releases that we were going to do, spread out over 2 years, and we accelerated them into coming out very rapidly, almost one a week, two a month during the summer, and just watch business go crazy online.
Wow, so it's a good thing for you guys. You were able to diversify. You'd already had that set up. So one side is taking off, but the other side is pretty much dead in the water right now.
Yeah, we wanted to give fans something to listen to, something to do, and something to get their hands on, while they were, trying to reorganize their lives to be a little slower and more chilled out. Yeah.
Dave, do you want to add to that?
Well, Ro, you didn't mention the Third Man public access. That was something we did to kind of curb the, everyone's appetite for live performances. We reached out to a lot of Third Man artists and a lot of friends of Third Man, and asked if they'd like to contribute, anything, a video, something, a message, a little short film. So we launched that kind of like doing an old style MTV or variety show type thing with just that people could tune into on watch, and kind of connect with people. So we've been doing that. We're working on a holiday Third Man public access as we speak. Well, we're not working on it, but someone else is. We're speaking with you. We just tried to adapt to, just everything and give people something special.
So because you guys do live events as well and live performances, what is the thought process for your team and some type of time frame when that will even become a reality again?
I think, as we're sort of navigating, the coming year and looking at, how do we roll back into this with maybe some version of an online streaming thing. But I think it really centers around a vaccine. I think as soon as people in the public start feeling comfortable and there's restrictions lifted and a vaccine is, hitting the right percentage of the population, I don't think we're going to see any kind of large gatherings like that. And I think it's going to take even a couple of years to get back to a normal capacity, but even something small scale, I think, towards the end of the year, maybe the fall or early winter in 2021, I think we potentially could see stuff happening on a smaller scale, more intimate scale, but in person.
How are some of the artists surviving? My nephew is a drummer in Chicago, and while they are trying to find new ways to recreate themselves through online, it's not the same. They're not getting the revenue that they once did. And while we saw a big, huge push in the beginning to try to support some of these artists, you don't hear much about that. But, concerts haven't made a comeback.
No, it's really terrible. I mean, it's compounded. It's the artists, it's the live musicians who that's their livelihood, not necessarily being on recordings. It's
small club owners,
the venues that are going away.
Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of action and attempts to try to put things together and go to Congress, but it's overwhelming. I think at the very least for fans or for consumers out there, to buy physical product and buy merchandise from bands and artists and things like that, that's right now one of the best ways to get them some money. When you can go to virtual shows, virtual concerts, where at least there's a ticket price that is providing some revenue. But that's the key. I think, buying vinyl versus streaming right now, you're gonna have more of that money going into the pockets of a musician if they're recording. And I think if musicians have the capability, getting back in the studio and just putting together quick ideas and quick projects, Bandcamp is a really cool website centered around more DIY approach to music, where the money goes direct to the artist. They're doing these great Friday and weekend sale opportunities and stuff. So there's some opportunities out there, but it takes some work, but it also takes the fans to spend on physical or ways that they can go direct to artists.
I believe today is a Bandcamp Friday, so anyone there watching, go to Bandcamp and buy something, because 100% goes to the artist on these. The Bandcamp waives all their fees, and I believe today is one of them.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you wonder though, what is going to be the long-term impact of this virus and this crisis for your industry?
I mean, obviously, we've already lost countless venues across the country and world. So that's just going to be, once bands and artists can get back out on the road, it's, without having as many outlets and places to play, they're going to be, struggling to find places to play. So there's going to be a competitiveness with the touring artists, which is a shame. And just, all the venues and just everyone it's hard to say what it's going to be like. It's going to be challenging
It's take a while
for everyone.
It's going to be a rebuilding, because even when things come back, venues and promoters aren't going to have a dime to pay people. It's going to be real challenge. So I think there needs to be some stimulus across the board centered around live entertainment and live entertainment venues soon. That needs to happen. It was similar to what we're seeing going on with the restaurant and the bar industry.
Yeah, Ticketmaster recently announced that one of the things they may require for people to have a vaccine before they'll actually release the ticket to attend a concert. Do you think that's going to be the way of the future?
I think for maybe large scale venues, sure. I think you think about big arenas and big huge theaters. I think that's going to be, just similar to the way that you have to show proof to go into certain countries, or I think even into Hawaii now, you have to show that you've either taken a test. I think it'll transition over to proof of, vaccination.
Ro Peterhans and Dave Buick with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. They're with Third Man Records. Today is a big day for you and your team there at Third Man Records. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I'll let Dave do it because a lot of what's happening today wouldn't have happened without him.
Thanks, Ro. Today is the big release day for the White Stripes double record Greatest Hits album. It comes out today. We're all very excited about it. The White Stripes have been churning out songs since, over 20 years. And we decided it's high time to put out a Greatest Hits record. And it's a big release for us. And,
a great
hopefully
Detroit story too, right? A great Detroit story.
It's a fantastic Detroit story. Duo that started, in the attic of their house over in Southwest Detroit, and now is putting out a Greatest Hits record that people are very, very excited about, and we are also very, very excited about it. Who would have thought? But we're all beyond excited, and what else is there, Ro, to add to it?
I think that's we can go out on a high note with White Stripes Greatest Hits out today globally, worldwide.
Do you anticipate they're going to sell out? How can people get them?
You can buy them at our locations. We're open, limited hours, 11 to 6. You can buy them online. You can buy them probably, I would imagine, at your favorite independent record store. Or your favorite chain store, but we recommend going to the independent ones and just supporting them. Yeah, you can. It's all over the place. It won't be hard to find. We hope it'll go into a second press, but we're planning on always having it available, so it'll always be here for you when you need a friend to turn to.
It's like you said, though, it is a great Detroit story, and we need those stories right now.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
That was Jack's whole thing, bringing it back to Detroit. He used to wait for the bus, to go to school, like right on the corner of this, of our street. And, he grew up walking the corridor from day one. Well, he didn't walk on day one, but being pushed through the corridor. So, that was his goal, was to, open up a place and, create jobs for Detroit and support the city that, raised him and loved him. And so, it's cool.
Well, and it's great what you and Jack and everyone is doing for the city of Detroit, because you continue to promote the city. And again, I always say, if you can turn Cass Corridor into a hip, cool place where people actually want to go and not just try to score drugs, it really, you can turn around any community and any neighborhood, but it does take a lot of work from people such as yourself and Shinola and Slows and so many of those other businesses down in that area to come together and believe in Detroit and make that comeback happen. Because I would imagine back in the day, no one thought that they would see the Cass Corridor look the way it looks now.
Oh, and it was like a Wild West. It was it was fun in my in my 20s and whatnot. But the neighborhood now is great. It's not just us. There's a lot, all our friend businesses down here. Cold Truth has got great vegan soft serve ice cream even in the cold months. It's the spot. Come down and go to Nest or City Bird or or the brewery across the way, or Monger Provisions. It's, you know, even in a pandemic, everyone around here is being safe and thoughtful, and you can actually come down and spend a little afternoon and, you know, get a little semblance of normalcy.
Feel safe and okay about it.
Yeah.
That is so true. It's changed, and anyone who hasn't been there, they definitely need to visit. So we'd love to have you guys back anytime you have news going on, or when you can open back up. And boy, do we miss live music. So when you can get that side going, please come back on with us anytime. You can always bring Jack White on as well.
Of course.
We will. All right.
Well, definitely go visit Third Man Records downtown Detroit in the Cass Corridor area next to Shinola. It is amazing what you have done, and the story of Detroit is really changing because you guys have helped bring national attention to that area as well. So thank you, and good luck with the new album, but also happy holidays to all of you as well.
You too. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, just about 20 minutes left in the show, and we'll round out the Friday edition talking with the representatives over at the West Bloomfield School District. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/contain-COVID. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Parks COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
To the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. You can catch Tyler and I here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. We do want to say thank you today to the West Bloomfield School District for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Megacast on their Facebook page. So thank you to them. But also you can always catch us on civiccentertv.com. Even after today, if you missed the show or you just want to catch up on one of the interviews, you can do so on civiccentertv.com. There we post the individual interviews as well as the full Megacast. With that, just about 20 more minutes left here in the show. We want to go ahead and bring in Deanna Barish with us here on the Oakland County Megacast, a longtime friend. Deanna, you've been on so much this year because I feel like we'll have you on and then 2 days later, the whole world changes yet again. She's the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Assessment, and Instruction over at the West Bloomfield School District. So thank you for being with us. And I have to say, where do things stand now? Are the kids going to be coming back to school at all this year?
Well, I certainly thank you for having me again, Ronnie. Yes, I do feel like I've been on quite a bit, and it does change as soon as I'm here. Yes, our anticipation is that we will have students back in the building at some point in time in the future. Right now, currently, we're scheduled to bring students back in on January the 19th. So that is scheduled to be our first day back of in-person instruction. But certainly we know that we have to keep an eye on what's happening across the region. decisions that the health department may make, and certainly we're working in accordance with the Oakland County Health Department as well. And so we'll again review the data and have a recommendation to the Board of Education in January, and so on January 11th. So right now, yes, we anticipate welcoming our students back on the 19th.
It's like fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, we remind everyone that it is a fluid situation, as it literally has been since March the 13th. And so what we know today and what we hope is going to happen in January can very quickly change. And so yes, that is the goal right now. But fingers crossed, we're back on the 19th. It certainly could be extended if things don't get better. So we'll see what happens.
And Deanna, would that be all students, or would high school students still be remote?
High school is going to continue remote till the end of the semester, but I should talk about that schedule a little bit. So starting second semester, we will have the opportunity to have high school students come into the building to do some kind of in-person instruction every afternoon. So we're not going to require it. We still have students that are not comfortable coming back into the building, may have found that remote learning is the best thing ever for them and for their lives. But there will be opportunity for high school students to return to the building starting January 25th, which is the start of our second semester.
So I know we've talked about this over and over and over again, but if you're a parent or you're a student and you are struggling with this remote learning process, what are you doing to try to reach those students?
Well, this is pretty exciting. So this is actually quite timely, Ronnie. So we are sending out in the next day or so, probably in our next update, we have 2 opportunities for students to get help. One is in the evening via Zoom. So on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, starting after the first of the year, so starting with Tuesday, January 5th after break, we will have teachers, kindergarten through 12th grade, content specific. So if you need help in science at the high school, there'll be a science teacher from the high school available via Zoom for our students to drop in and get that support. So sometimes you get home and you finished your day of Zooming, or you've been in person, quite frankly, for hybrid, and you have a question. You just need, you're reviewing for a test and you just need to have a quick question. And there's not somebody there to ask that question, maybe in the same way it would have. So we're making our teachers available Tuesday and Thursday evenings for drop-in kind of tutoring sessions or check-in sessions. And so we're excited about that. And then the other thing that we're launching, which is really cool, is we're going to have on Wednesday afternoons, this will be really targeted students for intervention. So not open to everybody, but really looking at our kindergarten through 3rd graders that are really struggling in reading. We're calling it our mobile academic team. And so we will have buses at 5 locations across the district. And so kids in very small groups will be able to come in and actually have live instruction with the teacher on the school bus. And so rather than bringing them back into the building, we're not ready to do that. It will always exist on Wednesdays, which is our asynchronous day. And knowing that for the foreseeable future, we're going to continue in a hybrid model. And so Wednesdays will always be asynchronous. This is an opportunity for students who are really, really struggling that we've identified to come in, climb on the bus, get a little extra help with a live teacher on a day that they typically would be learning at home. And so we're pretty excited about that.
So I'm trying to think about how some of these conversations go to come up with these creative ways to try to reach the kids and, get them the help and the education that they need. And I'm thinking unions, if you would have proposed this before this COVID crisis, unions probably would have been like, no way. But do you think that is going to kind of strengthen the relationship with some of the unions and the teachers and the parents and the entire community when this is all said and done?
I think for sure. I think that we'll speak specifically about the actual labor union. Our relationship with our labor unions, our bargaining units, whether that's secretaries or paraeducators or teachers or custodian, all of those, we've come together and been just problem solvers. This has not been in West Bloomfield, we can't do that, that's not, it's too hard, it's any of those things. It's been, let's work together, let's sit at the same table and let's come up with a solution. And I would say the same is true for our parents. We've had to make some really tough decisions. And, just a few weeks ago, we closed much earlier than everybody else and went back to remote learning much sooner than many of our counterparts. And we have built such a good kind of trusting relationship and open relationship and transparent with our community, that they know what's happening. And so they weren't surprised when, and they're supportive because they know we're using data to make those decisions. And we want to make sure that we are doing the best thing we can for kids.
We're on the verge of a vaccine. Once the vaccine is approved and it starts to become more widely available, how do you think that vaccine is going to impact how you educate and how you teach? Will it go back to everyone in class, but you have to have a vaccine?
That's a real struggle. We don't require that now, right? So in Michigan, parents always have the opportunity to opt their children out of a vaccine if they so choose. And so they have to go to the health department, and there's some protocols that have to be followed, but that's always a parental choice. So I'm not sure. Actually, we're just starting to get, this is going to be a hot button legal issue, whether for both students, for staff. And so we're really kind of going through some uncharted waters again around something that we'll have to tread very lightly and make sure that we consult our legal counsel and make the best decisions that we can. Do I think that school will ever look exactly the way school did pre-March 13th last year? I do not. I think that we have learned, I think our families have found that flexibility is important, that there are certainly some components of hybrid that our families really like and that our staff really likes. There's some things about remote learning only that our families and staff really like. So I think the face of education has changed for the foreseeable future.
Deanna Barish with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Assessment, and Instruction for the West Bloomfield School District. I mean, we're even hearing, Ticketmaster is now announcing you're going to have a vaccine in order to go to a concert. So that is going to be a conversation that definitely continues, not just with our schools, but I think, for a lot of jobs and so many other areas into our world. With that, because you are focused on the curriculum, what do you think is going to change when it comes to the curriculum and what we teach the kids?
Sure. So I think what we've found is that less is more, right? So we've had to really narrow what we do and determine what is most important rather than just kind of trying to do everything. And so maybe rather than starting with chapter 1 and getting through chapter 15 over the course of the year, we now know we just need to pull out those things that are most important that are going to impact kids for the rest of their lives. And so that real world application, those things that are going to build, that are spiral, that continue to build over the course of their education, that's really what we're focused upon. It has been really, we're doing a Twitter challenge again. So anybody who follows us on Twitter follows me, and you can follow me on Twitter. We've asked our teachers to showcase, how are you engaging students remotely right now? What does that look like? You should see some of the awesome things that they're doing. And so I see that also coming back into the classroom. These strategies that we're doing at home while they're using their Chromebooks will come back into the classroom as well. So it really is changed drastically what we do every single day.
So we have focused a lot on the students during this crisis. How are your teachers holding up as well? I have a family member that is a teacher, and it's like they're working 24/7 because they may be in class for part of the day or at home. It's like their day has no end.
That is the truth. We are encouraging them to turn their computers off. We actually have a message that we've attached to our teacher email that that we're encouraging them to use that says, after school hours, right? I'm not checking email. There has to be that ability to have that separation. We all know you're working from home. I'm working from home. It is very easy just to sit right here all day and evening and not ever kind of just step away and turn it off. And we know that that's not healthy. And so we encourage our teachers. We certainly ask our families to understand that if you email a teacher at 8 o'clock at night, you should not expect a response by 8:01. They too have families and need that ability to separate as well. I can't tell you how proud I am of the staff that we have in West Bloomfield. It has not mattered what we've asked them to do, what we've encouraged them to do. They go above and beyond every single day, and they've weathered this so well. And we're really very fortunate to have them here.
I wonder for some of them if it's hard for them, because before all of this happened, there were a lot of conversations about should teachers have contact with students outside of the classroom? And there was a lot of discussion around that. But this is a different world right now. How is that world working, and the conversations and about how much is too much communication? Is it inappropriate for a teacher to give out their cell phone?
Well, it's obviously it is a tough situation. So we really encourage them to use things like email, right, so that it is documented. When we Zoom with our students, it is recorded, and it's really for that piece of just safety for everyone. So if something were to happen, or quite honestly, I missed class that day and I need to be able to go back and see what I missed, the teacher can email a link to that Zoom lesson so that they're not behind as well. So it's not just about management and making sure people are protected. It's also just for kids who aren't absent and still having access to the curriculum. But yes, it is one of those. We use Remind. We actually use through our learning management system, Canvas. They can send broadcast messages where it goes to the parent's cell phone, it goes to the student's cell phone. We try to, as much as possible, we know that they give the students their cell phone numbers if they feel like that's the best way to communicate. But obviously we would prefer that they keep it within the district. It's just easier for everyone.
So many tough conversations to have that you wouldn't have had prior to this time. Just a couple more minutes here with you on the Oakland County Megacast. Of course, we have to ask you because we are focused in the Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake area. So many people love Roosevelt Elementary, and the conversation now that it could possibly close. I don't know if you're really in a position to even answer that question or not, but so many people in my neighborhood, their kids go there. My phone's been ringing off the hook. What do you want the parents to know, if you're even in a position to answer that?
I would say that I would encourage them to look at the presentation that was done both last evening, and then we have an additional presentation that will be posted on the website. If it's not there yet, it will be today. And to take the survey, to give their feedback via the survey that's available to anybody in the community. So we actually want you to watch the presentation first, so you understand the context of the conversation before you complete the survey. Because we're trying to separate emotion from really what we're seeing in that presentation around enrollment. And so making sure that they watch both and then complete the survey. And then certainly we have a board study session on Monday evening. There is no action that's going to be taken Monday night. The board is just having consideration. This is just conversation at this point in time. So there is no action being taken Monday evening. It is an opportunity for the board to have really have all that stakeholder feedback presented to them, to have the opportunity as a Board of Education to hear from the public, but also as an entity to discuss it among themselves. Obviously, that's where that conversation needs to take place. And so they're seeing data for the first time from our stakeholders. They're looking at our enrollment trends and the demographic data that we have. It really is a conversation about what is the next best step for the district. And so there will not be action taken Monday evening, but really dialogue and discourse about the next steps for West Bloomfield schools.
So just about another minute here with you on the Oakland County Megacast. With that, so many school districts right now are losing students because of this remote learning. Are you worried, or are you and the leadership team anticipating you're going to lose students? Because that's really where your budget comes from.
Correct. We've been very fortunate so far this year that our enrollment has been stable from last year, so almost unchanged from last year, which I think says a lot about the quality of the education we were able to to deliver and to continue to deliver this year, whether we're remote or hybrid. And so that says a lot about our teachers and the work that they've done and the support of our community. What we really face, Ronnie, is what everybody in Oakland County is facing. That's why we have declining enrollment. It's declining birth rates. There just aren't children. And so when you talk about millennials who aren't having children or who are not staying in the Metro Detroit area, we are facing as a county, as a state, just a decline in birth rate, just a decline in the number of children, period. And so that's what's precipitating many of these conversations. There just aren't kids.
And so again, though, that survey is open to anyone in the public. You don't have to have kids that attend West Bloomfield.
That is correct. Yes, it's on our website, and we encourage people to watch the presentation and then give their feedback.
Well, Deanna, it's always great having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. You always clarify and clear up so many questions and issues so many people have. So it's great to have you with us here on the Megacast.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thanks for having me again.
We're going to wrap up the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Tyler and I, Jake and Larry, want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a happy weekend. Stay safe and stay healthy. This is the Oakland County Megacast.